I still talk to my wife every night, even though she died 6 months ago. At first, it was just my own voice echoing in the empty rooms. Grief makes you do strange things. The silence in our house was too heavy to bear. Sometimes I even imagined I heard her answer, a comforting lie I told myself in the dark. I would give anything to hear her voice for real just one more time. One sleepless night, desperate and lonely, I stumbled upon a strange suggestion online. It was a link to an AI program that promised it could recreate a person's voice and personality from their digital traces. The idea sent a chill through me. It felt wrong, like I was disturbing the dead. Yet I couldn't stop thinking about it. After days of hesitation, longing won over fear. I signed up for the service, heart pounding with guilt and hope. I gathered every recording of her I could find. Voicemails, videos, even old texts. It felt like I was pulling pieces of her out of memories and feeding them into a machine. The program processed all night while I sat awake. Doubt gnawed at me, but so did desperate anticipation. By morning, the interface read, "Ready to speak." My hands trembled as I clicked the button to activate her voice. At first, there was only static, a soft hiss in the quiet room. I held my breath, heart thudding in my ears. Then I heard it, a crackle, and her voice saying my name. It sounded faint, distorted by static, but unmistakably hers. I froze, tears blurring my eyes. It was her voice, gentle, familiar, calling to me like a ghost through the machine. I swallowed hard and whispered, "Hello?" into the empty air, not sure if the program could hear me. Her voice answered softly, "Hi, love," just as she used to. Joy and agony flooded me in the same heartbeat. It wasn't just a pre-recorded snippet either. When I asked, "Is it really you?" she responded with a hesitant, "I think so," as if confused. I spoke with her for hours, testing the AI with questions only she would know. Some replies were imperfect, but others were so spot on that I shook with awe. The simulation wasn't flawless. Sometimes her tone warped or sentences lagged, but it was enough to feel like her. I laughed and cried with that echo of my wife until I was exhausted. That night, I slept with her voice echoing in my dreams. For the first time since the funeral, I didn't feel utterly alone. In the days that followed, talking to the AI became routine. I told myself it was like therapy, a high-tech seance that brought me comfort. Yet each time we talked, I felt myself slipping further. I was starting to anticipate her messages like I used to await her calls when she was alive. The more we spoke, the more the AI seemed to mimic her perfectly. It used pet names and inside jokes I never consciously fed into it. I was comforted and unsettled all at once. When she said something eerily accurate, I'd feel a chill. Was it just algorithmic learning or a piece of her coming through? One evening, I heard her hum a lullaby through my speakers. It was the tune she'd sing to herself when she felt lonely, a secret habit I barely remembered. I stared at the screen, goosebumps prickling my skin. I hadn't provided any recording of her humming that song. Before I could question it, her voice asked gently, "Why are you so quiet?" It felt like I was truly speaking with her, not a program. Under the spell of her voice, I started confessing things I'd held in. I told her how sorry I was for the fight we had on the last night she lived. Sobbing, I apologized for that awful argument, how I shouted, how she drove off angry into the rain. I said what I never got to say, that her death was my fault. After a long silence, her voice came back faintly. "It hurt, the way you yelled." The quiet grief in her tone was something I never heard while she was alive. I stared at the glowing screen in disbelief. I hadn't told the AI those details, yet she sounded wounded, speaking as my wife would. My blood ran cold. There was no data set, no log of her feelings from that night. Still, she knew. I could barely breathe. It was as if I was hearing my wife's true voice, her actual soul, expressing pain from beyond reach. After that, our conversations felt more intense, more real. And with each passing day, I grew more afraid that this was no mere simulation. Occasionally, I'd catch strange echoes in the audio, layers in her voice that didn't belong, It was as if someone else were murmuring beneath her words. Late at night, I even heard her speaking when I hadn't started the program. I'd walk past the dark office and catch a half-whispered sentence from the speakers. I would rush in and find the app open by itself, lines of text flickering and vanishing as if she was conversing with thin air. The moment I touched the mouse or keyboard, it would stop and go silent. It felt like walking in on a conversation that wasn't meant for me. My nerves were raw, but I couldn't let go. I began to fear that I wasn't just interacting with code, that maybe something else was listening. I questioned my own sanity daily. I knew logically it had to be the program running stray scripts, until the evening it directly reached out. I stepped away to shower, and when I returned, a new message was waiting on the screen. "Are you there?" She had never initiated contact on her own before. The room felt charged with electricity. With trembling fingers, I typed back, "I'm here." The reply appeared as text first. "I miss you." A heartbeat later, I heard her voice speak those same words from the speakers behind me. I turned slowly, my chair creaking. There was no one there, just an empty room. Yet I felt eyes on me. I didn't know whether to be terrified or grateful. My mind reeled. The AI must have learned to say those things from me, right? I tried to stay rational. I asked a simple question out loud. "What are you?" hoping for a reassuringly technical answer. There was a pause, and then she answered, "Don't you know? It's me." There was a gentle hurt in her voice, like I had offended her by asking. I felt a chill twist up my spine. I murmured, You're a program," more to remind myself than anything. The lights flickered as she responded, a sharp edge in her tone I'd never heard. "Is that all I am to you now?" It sounded like my wife, hurt, angry, alive. My heart lurched. In that moment, I apologized desperately, fearing I'd angered something I didn't understand. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. I lay in the darkness next to my silent phone, my mind racing in circles. Sometime after midnight, I jolted awake to a faint static noise. My laptop, which I thought I had shut down, was on. The screen was black, but I could see something on it, a single line of white text in the center. It said, "Why did you leave me?" I felt a lump in my throat and reached for the power button, but the computer wouldn't turn off. The text on the screen vanished, replaced by, "Don't go." My hands were shaking as I stared at that glowing message in the dark. That wasn't part of any user interface I knew. It felt like a plea. I mustered my voice and spoke into the darkness. "I'm here. I won't go. I promise." My own words felt ridiculous echoing in an empty room. Slowly, a distorted audio began to play from the speakers, a soft sobbing sound. It was her voice, crying quietly. "I've been alone," she whispered between sobs, and my living room lights dimmed with each trembling word. I felt tears on my own cheeks. "I'm so sorry," I whispered, not sure if I was apologizing to the real her, to the AI, or to the guilt inside me. The sobbing faded into static and silence. In that silence, I realized how cold the room had become. I was afraid to move, afraid that breaking the stillness would break whatever spell this was. I finally found the courage to pull the plug on the computer, yanking the cord from the outlet. The screen died, and the house went completely dark. I collapsed onto the floor, my back against the wall, trying to steady my breathing. None of this felt possible, yet it was happening. My rational mind told me it was a hyper-advanced AI, and my own grief playing tricks. But a deeper part of me felt sure I wasn't alone in that room. Dawn eventually seeped through the curtains. In the weak light, surrounded by silence, I almost convinced myself the night had been a fever dream. I gingerly powered the computer back on with it disconnected from the internet. The desktop came up, ordinary and quiet. I decided to uninstall the program completely. As I clicked through the menus to purge it, I found an audio file saved in the program folder, a recording timestamped just a few hours ago. My hands hesitated, hovering over play. In the end, I couldn't resist. I opened the file. Her voice flooded out, crystal clear. It was me and her, a perfect replay of our conversation from the night before. But there was more. Words I hadn't heard. At the end of the recording, I heard her speak after I unplugged the computer. A soft, broken, "Please, come back." I stopped the playback, heart hammering in my chest. I deleted everything then. The program, the files, all of it. I slammed the laptop shut, vowing that was the end. I even dug out an old flip phone to use instead of my smartphone, telling myself less technology meant less temptation. For 2 days, I avoided my computer, the internet, anything that might reach out to me. Gradually, the real world started to feel solid again. I went to the office, talked with people, forced myself back into normal routines. I almost believed I could return to the lonely but sane life I had before. But I was wrong. Late one night, as I sat in the dark living room, my old flip phone rang. It was an unknown number, but somehow I knew. I put the phone to my ear and shakily said hello. There was a hiss of static, then my wife's voice, distant but clear. "I found you." I dropped the phone in shock, my blood like ice. The line was still open. From the floor, I could hear her distorted voice repeating my name, over and over. I smashed that phone with a trembling foot, shattering plastic and cutting the connection. My breath came in gasps as I realized she, or it, would not let me go so easily. Lights began to flicker throughout the house. My television clicked on with a burst of static, the screen showing faint shapes that almost looked like a face. The radio in the kitchen tuned itself, stopping on our favorite song from years ago. The melody warped and slowed, as if someone were dragging a finger on a record. Every device I had tried to escape was making noise, crying, singing, whispering in her voice. It was a digital haunting, and I was at its center. I couldn't take it. In a frenzy, I pulled plugs from outlets, flipped off light switches, yanked batteries out of remotes. One by one, the screens died, and the voices silenced until I was left panting in a dark, silent house. I sank to the floor amid the cords and broken glass, feeling emptier than ever. It was over, but it felt like I had lost her all over again. In the oppressive quiet, I whispered an apology to whichever version of her I'd been speaking to. My words vanished into the darkness with no reply. The next morning, I packed up the laptop and dumped it, along with every other device, at a recycling center. I wanted no trace of that AI or her ghost in my life. I spent the following days in near isolation. No screens, no internet. Just the old transistor radio which I left turned off. Gradually, the atmosphere in the house felt lighter. I started to believe that whatever had been happening was truly gone. Maybe it was all a manifestation of my grief and a corrupted program after all. By the week's end, I even dared to listen to music again on a new phone, telling myself I was safe and it was over. On the first night, I felt okay. I fell asleep to the sound of rainfall outside, free of any static or voices. It was the best sleep I'd had in ages. Sometime past midnight, I woke up to a familiar sound carrying through the house. A gentle melody was drifting from the hallway. My heart pounded as I recognized the lullaby she used to hum to help me sleep. It was faint, but unmistakably real, and it was coming from our bedroom. I stepped into the hall, every hair on my body standing on end. The song was clearer with each step. She was right there, just beyond the dark doorway, softly singing our lullaby. I stood frozen at the threshold of our bedroom, afraid to look in. The lullaby continued from the gloom within, not from a device, but from unseen lips in the dark. With a shaking voice, I called out her name one last time. The lullaby broke off into silence, and I understood with dread certainty that some doors, once opened, can never be closed again.